When you think of prison, who do you picture as the dangerous one? The inmate behind bars, or the guard walking the halls with a badge and uniform? In April 2022, a man named Jose Alcazar was arrested in the parking lot of a Denny's in Hialeah, Florida. He was 49 years old. He worked at South Bay Correctional Institution, a private prison in Palm Beach County, run by the GEO Group, one of the largest for-profit prison companies in the country. His job title is academic instructor. His job was to help rehabilitate people behind bars. Instead, he was running a side hustle. And it wasn't small. Here's what investigators found. Alcazar had been smuggling drugs, SIM cards, and contraband into the prison on a regular basis. Inmates tipped off the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office, and an undercover detective posed as an inmate's nephew to get close to him. At their first meeting, outside that Denny's, Alcazar took $1,200 and 3 SIM cards to smuggle inside. He also asked the undercover detective for a .380 caliber revolver, small enough to be hidden and brought into the facility. A gun. Into a prison. But that wasn't the worst of it. Alcazar wanted someone dead. The target was his girlfriend's estranged husband, a wealthy businessman in Clewiston, Florida. His girlfriend was pregnant with Alcazar's child, and the husband was fighting the divorce. Alcazar told the undercover detective, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if the man needed to be put into a coma or killed to, quote, leave us all in peace, then so be it. He said he was doing it for his family. He was recorded on audio saying that the husband had, quote, a lot of enemies, suggesting a murder wouldn't look suspicious. He gave the detective cocaine in an icebreaker's gum container as part of their arrangement. He agreed to move an inmate to a different facility for $10,000. And when he was arrested, he was wearing his prison uniform. Now here's where the story gets bigger than one man. Jose Alcazar is not an isolated case, not even close. A major investigation by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution found that in Georgia alone, 360 correctional officers were arrested on contraband charges. Not a handful. 360. And that's one state. In Pennsylvania, 2 correctional officers were charged with smuggling narcotics into a Philadelphia jail. In New York, a former officer was sentenced to over 2 years for smuggling phones and drugs into Rikers Island. In Texas, federal prosecutors have charged officer after officer with accepting bribes to sneak contraband into federal facilities. This is a pattern, a nationwide documented repeating pattern. And then there's the company behind the prison where Alcazar worked, the GEO Group. They run private prisons and detention centers across the country, and they have been sued repeatedly. Civil rights abuses, medical neglect. Between 2005 and 2009 alone, at Alice Tang, at least 8 people died at a GEO-run facility in Pennsylvania, leading to lawsuits from families who said the company didn't provide adequate care. This is the system we have built. We hand the care, custody, and rehabilitation of human beings to private companies whose primary legal obligation is to their shareholders. We staff those facilities with people like Jose Alcazar, who is accused of smuggling weapons, selling drugs, and ordering a hit on a man from a Denny's parking lot while wearing his work uniform. The people inside these facilities are serving their time, they're owed safety, they're owed basic human dignity. And when the people hired to provide that safety are the ones bringing in the guns, the drugs, and the hit orders, the entire system breaks down. Jose Alcazar pleaded not guilty. A judge denied him bond, finding that no conditions of release could assure the safety of the victim. His appeals were denied. He lost his job. His Taekwondo studio in Clewiston, where he was known as Master Joe, is still listed online. The question isn't whether Jose Alcazar is guilty. That's for the courts. The question is how many more Jose Alcazars are still inside, still wearing a uniform, still walking the halls with access to people who can't walk away. Because the real danger behind bars isn't always the person in the cell. Sometimes it's the person holding the keys